After Moscow, it felt like the end, but let's not forget how we got there. This is a tribute to the tactics, reforms, and raw willpower that made Napoleon nearly invincible for over a decade. His speed, his loyalty, his genius, and the men who followed him without question. Welcome to Phoenix Histories, where we don't just tell you the story of the rise, we show why it was so hard to stop. So like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications because now we learn why nobody could defeat Napoleon. You think you know Napoleon Bonaparte. That he clawed his way to power by brute force. That he was short, maybe angry, and destined to fall. But that's not how history remembers him. Because the truth is, when Napoleon had men, maps, and momentum, no one could stop him. Not in battle, not in politics, not even in exile. And his greatest victory wasn't won on a battlefield. It was seizing power with a pen. It's October 5th, 1795, Paris. Royalist mobs descend on the National Convention. Over 25,000 armed civilians march through the streets. The government is crumbling. No one wants to fire on these people except one man, Napoleon Bonaparte. Just 26, unfamous, almost forgotten. He positions artillery at key intersections, waits for the moments, then fire. Grape shot tears through the mob. The uprising is crushed. The convention survives. And Napoleon becomes a name, not for speaking, not for pleading, but for doing. Now, it's 1799 in France. The Directory is failing. The revolution has eaten its own. And the people are ready for an order. Enter Napoleon. He conspires with Abbé Sieyès, and together they engineer a somewhat peaceful coup. On 18 Brumaire, which is on November 9th, 1799, Napoleon enters the chambers of power with soldiers not to threaten, but to dismiss the chaos. Within hours, the Directory resolves and each member signs a resignation.
Have you not? You're worse than Caesar! Worse than Caesar! You are all of you, the traitors! Arrest him!
Napoleon becomes first consul of France. He would later say, "I found the crown of France lying in the gutter. I picked it up with my sword."
I found the crown of France in the gutter. I picked it up with the tip of my sword and cleaned it.
5 years later, he would take that metaphor literally. At Notre Dame Cathedral, with Pope Pius VII present, Napoleon lifts the crown and places it upon his own head. A soldier, a scholar, a self-made emperor. He would prove again and again that the throne was earned, not gifted. He didn't just conquer Europe, he re-engineered France, he introduced the Napoleonic Code, he established universities and the Bank of France, he created modern bureaucracy, and merit-based promotions. Austerlitz, 1805. He lures the enemy into attacking what they believe is a weak flank, but it's bait. He strikes the center, splits the army, wins a victory so perfect it becomes legend. Russia, 1812. He splits the largest army Europe has ever seen into independent corps to prevent supply lines from breaking and sustain mobility. When he reaches Moscow, it burns before him. What a tremendous spectacle, he says. They are indeed Scythians. Still, he stays. 1809, Rome. The Pope refuses to support Napoleon's continental system against Britain. Napoleon's answer? He annexes the Papal States and arrested the Pope himself. Because when diplomacy failed, Napoleon didn't escalate, he executed. 1814, exiled to Elba, forgotten. But 10 months later, he escapes, lands in France with no army. The new King Louis sends troops to capture him. Napoleon walks alone towards them and says, "If any soldier wishes to kill his emperor, here I am." They drop their rifles, cry out, "Vive l'Empereur!" And he marches to retake Paris without firing a shot. They couldn't kill his legend because it was never built on thrones. It was built in the minds and hearts of the French people, in the loyalty of those who followed him into the fire. So not armies, not kings, not religion. Napoleon built an empire on speed, vision, and loyalty, and no one could match him. But even legends can fall. In the next and final episode, he returns alone. One last march, one final stand. So don't miss it, because next time we end with Waterloo.